for example, accountability. So some of those values, and we tried our best to uphold that. And to give you an example, the freedom of expressions. Being in government in Jakarta is always noisy situations, whoever is the governor, because the social media engagement is very high. All media are in Jakarta, so small things could be trending topics if it happens in Jakarta, and it could attract attentions across Indonesia. And having that is a true benefit to us. What happened is we are able to get quick response from the general public about what we're doing. So we don't see this.
I would like to share my experience when meeting Dr. Anies in Jakarta when I want to deliver the invitation from ISTEC. When I deliver the letter to Dr. Anies Baswedan at his office, normally leaders will take the letter and put on the table, normally. But this is different with Dr. Anies Baswedan. When I handed the letter to him, he immediately opened the envelope. And he read through within seconds. Within seconds he responded, I like this topic. I like this topic. That is Dr. Anies Baswedan. Before I end my short remarks, I just would like to share. This is my third time with Dr. Anies since his arrival. And I want to take a verse, an ayat, written by Imam Abdul Rahman Ad-Dibai. But I just want to take an ayah here. This is describing the Prophet, the character, the traits of Prophet Muhammad SAW. I want to register to you all here. There's a resemblance. وَإِذَا تَبَسَّمَ تَبَسَّمَ عَنْ مِثْلِ حَبِّ الْغَمَامِ. Apabila beliau tersenyum, senyumnya sejuk, butiran embun. Dan bila beliau berbicara, seakan mutiara berjatuhan dari ucapan. Inilah the impression that I gathered of who Dr. Anies Baswedan is. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah.
My name is Ernest Khan. I am the governing board member of Lee Kuan Yew School here. My question to you, Governor, knowing that the capital city of Jakarta, in terms of your administration, is to be moved over to Kalimantan. So as you look forward for Jakarta, with all these lessons learned, what will be the impact on Jakarta when that process is complete? Because then your capital city will be in a city in Kalimantan. And for the lessons that you have learned from building Jakarta, great work, Governor, for the last 5 years. How is that going to impact Jakarta going forward?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Khan.
It's been law of the land, so it's going to take place. How that impact Jakarta? We can sort of look at it from several perspectives. But when it comes to transport, for example, how big is government activity contributed to traffic in Jakarta? If it is big, when they are relocating, our traffic will be better, right? So it's good for Jakarta, right? If they're relocating. But the problem is, it only contributed 4%. 4% of traffic in Jakarta is government related. So what are the biggest chunk? Household and business. We have 14.5 million deliveries per day in our city. Delivery meaning, the deliveries of food or delivery products, 14.5 million. And we have another PR that is not yet addressed, which is the numbering of our post address system. You have one road, one number 2, and then the next is number 20. Okay? And then next is number 30, right? That's happening. We're not addressing that issue yet, step by step. But when it comes to activity, major activity in Jakarta is actually non-governmental. So when it comes to relocations of our capital, we are going to be center of Indonesian economy still, We still contribute 17-18% of our GDP. That's not going to change. And we will see more government employee moving to East Kalimantan. And I believe that the development of Nusantara will not repeat the mistake that we made. We used to be corridor-based development, car-based development. I think over there will be more public transport, more pedestrian to begin with. So I think there are many lessons learned. Why that is the case? Let me underline the difference here. Relocating its capital and building new capital. That's two different things. People always talk about Indonesia is going to relocate its capital. No, we are not only relocating. We are going to build a new capital. Relocation, example is from Bonn to Berlin. That's called relocation. Okay? From Istanbul to Ankara. That's called relocation. But from Jakarta to Nusantara, it means constructing new city. And that's not going to finish in the next 2, 3, 4 years. That's going to take quite some time to complete. During that period, Indonesians were very skillful in adjustment. So don't worry, we will adjust it quickly. Adjusting, that's our skill. We'll adjust it quickly. So we're not worried. And Jakarta is always, I would say, a disappointment to a pessimist. So we'll continue to be a vibrant city. It's just published a month ago. Describe them as complacent Democrats. They say democracy is good, but they feel little urgency to defend it. And in the survey done last year, 2024, we have large portions of the youth, according to that survey, would choose strongman image, even if it's linked to possible authoritarian, without having reservation. So what I want to ask and would like to invite you to think together is a serious questions. What keeps democracy alive when new generations feel democracy is permanent? Democracy can be taken for granted, even when the quality of our democracy were eroding. So allow me on these reflections to share my argument. There are 3 parts to this argument. 1, the youth in Indonesia hold historic moral power, and it still does, since the old days. Today is the 27th, and 28th of October we are celebrating, commemorating the Sumpah Pemuda, the youth oath. Again, so the youth has hold historic moral power. But second argument is that moral power alone is never enough. We also need integrity in how power is exercised, how power is being used. And the third argument that I like to share on this reflection is reinventing democracy means combining 1, integrity, 2, participations, 3, shared prosperity across generations, not just by telling young people, please fix what we broke. We means the previous generations, the older generations. So those are 3 arguments that I'd like to share with you on these reflections. Now let me start with youth and power in Indonesia. And I would call it as a journey from moral force to governing force. In Indonesia, we grew up with the story of Pemuda, young people, as the conscience of our nations. Let's remember a few milestones. 1928, it's the youth that get together and able to form an idea of one nation and able to agree upon one common language. Without that, all this diversity that we have will not be integrated into the feeling of oneness being Indonesia. And it gave us a milestone and a foundations how we strengthen the togetherness given the diversity that we have. And it was a genius breakthrough in 1928. And then in 98, which is about 70 years later, it's the student and the civil society activists, which is mostly young people as well, push to end an authoritarian regime in Indonesia. And they open up a democratic era in 98. 70 years later. Now in 2019, 2020, we have seen student activists, labor groups, environmental groups again filled our street to protest legal changes that was happening that weaken our democratic institutions, that weaken anti-corruption effort, and protections toward laborers. Those are the period of 2019-2020. Again, who are out in the street, who are out there speaking up about change? It's the youth. So in our national narratives, I would say youth is not just about young people that own the future. Youth is an emergency brake in our country. Youth is an emergency brake. Whenever we are facing a crisis, it's the youth that step in and play a significant roles. But here is the uncomfortable fact of today, if I may say.
Halo teman, jumpa bersama saya di Politik Dunia. Teman-teman, ini luar biasa sekali. Kemarin ada yang bertanya atau menulis sebuah komentar di kolom komentar kita ya, terkait dengan ketika ada pemberitaan mengenai Anies Baswedan menjadi Dewan Penasehat Kota Riyadh di Kerajaan Arab Saudi, teman-teman. Dan komentarnya itu begini: kalau post ini tidak benar, maka saya akan blokir dengan memblokir akun video-video saya, teman-teman ya. Katanya pemberitaan saya nggak benar. Kemudian saya balas, saya tantang balik, saya katakan bahwa kalau apa yang saya post ini benar bagaimana? Kemudian saya tantang lagi, silahkan ketik ya di Google, searching ya, Anies ditunjuk menjadi Dewan Penasehat Kota Riyadh di Kerajaan Arab Saudi. Itu balasan saya yang pertama. Yang balasan kedua, kalau sudah searching ya, kalau sudah membaca, silahkan balas komentar saya ini. Saya tunggu sampai sekarang, teman-teman, belum ada balasan. Dan ini kan membuktikan bahwa bagaimana orang-orang yang kemudian tidak senang dengan Anies Baswedan, teman-teman ya, ataupun orang senang dengan Anies ya, kemudian mereka malah gak percaya, teman-teman ya, dengan apa yang kita sajikan ya kan. Anies itu sangat luar biasa, teman-teman, bagaimana gebrakan-gebrakan hebatnya, sebuah tokoh yang sangat fenomenal, sebuah tokoh yang sangat luar biasa ya, bahkan semakin layak untuk Pilpres 2029 ya. Apalagi kontestasi 2029 ini semakin hari semakin dekat, kerja-kerja politik Anies semakin diperketat, teman-teman, semakin meluas ya kan, dan ini kan menjadi sebuah hal yang sangat luar biasa. Dan kalau kita melihat ya bagaimana Anies Baswedan, tokoh yang masih saja ya menjadi trending per hari ini, teman-teman, tentu menjadi perbincangan bagaimana masyarakat kemudian ya ingin Anies maju di Pilpres 2009. Dan ini luar biasa ya, tinggal Anies menjadi wakil yang pas, wakil yang cocok ya kan untuk Anies, untuk menampingi Anies di 2029, teman-teman. Kalau wakil Anies ini pas, saya yakin bahwa ya kemenangan akan diperoleh, teman-teman ya. Ini luar biasa, teman-teman. Bagaimana menurut kalian? Kita diskusi di kolom komentar ya. Sampai jumpa lagi. Salam.